You guys excited for 100 subscribers? Oh. Well, I guess it's not that important. Well, finally made it to 100 subscribers. I figured I'd do something simple, make a kit here, and I've got a couple other of these things. Actually, this one wasn't a kit now that I think about it. This is a shitty function generator, and this is a shitty power supply, which is just so convoluted. Like, just the design of, or the layout of everything is just ridiculous. But, what are you going to do? So, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the channel and build this kit, which is supposedly an LCR meter. I am not convinced. It's got a fairly densely populated board. The board itself is actually quite nice. I've got a couple kits like this with these kind of boards before, and they're decent quality. The design is a little weird because, right off the bat, I noticed. Well, let me get some of these parts out. I noticed that the microprocessor goes here, but there's also a resistor pack that goes through it. So I don't know if I can actually fit this resistor pack under it. I want to just check the clearances of it, because I'm thinking I have to install the resistor pack upside down, because it's just like, they put them right in the middle of the board. So, and there's supposed to be a little 10 mic electrolytic, which I could leave on an angle. That's okay. Let's see. Yeah, I could put this in on an angle, and that would work. But this resistor pack, I don't think I can actually fit under here. Just figure I should find this out before I start soldering. I think it might actually work. It does extend over it, but the MCU will sit a little above the socket, so I think that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to just get all these resistors in. Usually a good place to start on kits, since you usually want to get all the really short stuff and then work up to taller items as you go. And I went through and I labeled a couple of these. Got some 1K and some 10K stuff. There's a couple oddball ones. I have my multimeter out. I hate resistor bands, especially the like the 5-line ones. I can't be bothered to read those. I just measure each one and get the reading from my multimeter. It's just, especially when it's a one-off, I don't want to sit there worrying about the stupid actual code. So, what do we have in terms of 1K? There's one. Unfortunately, talking during kit building is usually quite boring, especially since there's quite a few pauses and stuff as you're thinking about each thing, and it's not like I'm just sitting here talking in front of the camera. I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing to some degree. This isn't exactly a complicated kit, but I'm sure I'll make a few mistakes. So, I wanted to talk about how far we are in the channel. By we, I mean me and you, the viewer. I've got a whole bunch of videos shot, and I've always had a huge backlog of videos. Shooting the videos is never the problem. It's sitting down and editing. Even though I edit fairly quickly, I do what Dave Jones does, and that's shoot everything linearly. And it's pretty quick for the editing, because all I have to do is just chop off the front and the back of each clip and join them all together. And that, combined with a little bit of tracking down data sheets. Well, I don't usually post data sheets. Everyone can Google data sheets, but tracking down specs on chips sometimes. And there's a few videos that took quite some time to create, just because the like the board had like 50 custom chips, and I'm doing all these Google searches, and that sort of stuff takes a while. And other videos I can get out in like 10 minutes after shooting. Like the last one, the one I did on the multimeters, the cheap multimeters, since that's a pretty basic video, it was one shot, and I just had to clip out a few things. The majority of what I do in terms of editing is editing out a lot of the ums and ahs that I make, and there's going to be a lot of them in here, because I'm probably not going to edit this video too much, and that is the most time-consuming part. It's just like, I've tried to train myself not to sit there and go, 500 times, but it just happens, and it's like, I don't think I say it like during normal conversations, so I think it's just, I'm just not used to thinking in terms of what I'm going to say next on a video. I mean, a lot of people actually script their videos, which I would never do, just because I would never get anything done. I'd just be writing scripts and not shooting anything. And I've also discovered, like, I actually did try and shoot a couple videos like that. Not for this, but I shot a video of my World of Warcraft collection stuff, and I can't remember if I put it on YouTube or not. I think I did. And I tried shooting it with no audio, and then going through and doing a voiceover for it, and I wrote what I was going to say, and it's unbelievable. I'm like looking at my own words, just like reading completely different things for some reason. Yeah, I would not make a good actor, just because I apparently can't even read my own words. It's weird. So, kind of have to do this on a somewhat odd angle, just because, one, I've got to balance between being able to solder this stuff, and I've got to balance it between being able to see it. Like my arm, whenever I'm left-handed, so whenever I'm soldering, my arm's going to be in the way. And just, unfortunately, like, the bed is right behind the camera. So that's why the cat's always, he makes appearances, well, they make appearances in the videos, because they tend to hang out on the bed. I can't get my chair like right where the camera is now, because the bed and the my desk, there just isn't enough room. Hey, New York apartments, man. And so I'm in on this angle, yet I'm left-handed, so I have to like reach around and do this, and the camera's on my left side, so it just does. It's not really ideal for shooting videos like this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I've got this strange angle for soldering, and whenever I'm soldering, I'm gonna be blocking the camera, but gotta make do. Can't say that this apartment was ever set up with YouTube in mind. So, like I was saying, I've got a whole bunch of videos shot, and I have a whole bunch of videos to shoot. Like, I have been really good. I went through and I got a lot of my really big stuff filmed, because that stuff was just taking up so much space in the apartment, and it was really nice to clear out some of it. I have a PowerMac G5 tower with the liquid cooling unit shot. I have a PowerMac G4, one of the older ones, the AGP model. I have a mirrored door PowerMac G4 coming up. Well, not coming up on the channel, I mean coming up to shoot. It's still in the closet. I need to edit them. Like, it's all shot, I just need to edit them, and who the hell knows. I want to make promises and say, oh, that's coming up next, but I remember way back in like episode 2 or 3 or something like that, I said, oh, yeah, I've got this this thing on my desk. Look at it. It's going to be great coming up, and I still haven't shot the video. I mean, it's in the closet now. That particular thing was a huge desktop computer that looks like a regular desktop, just big, except it's actually 12 separate individual computers with their own hard drives, own memory, all on one giant motherboard, which is like a 30-layer board or something ridiculous. And they're all interconnected, and when you power it on, oh, there's a plane or something going by. When you power it on, the system acts as a cluster, and it will actually, oh, let me fix this one resistor sticking out and looks ugly. The system itself actually shows up is a Linux cluster, and it will actually work on its. Before I go on, actually is one of those things I'm trying to stop saying so much. I just said it like 5 times in a row. I do tend to say actually a lot. Who is it? It's Connor Wolf who always says, he says intriguing or something like that. And I notice it all the time because, like on his channel, it's a great channel, and I don't know where he went. He's not shooting any more videos, but he says like and a few other words all the time, and it's not that it's annoying or anything, it's just that I notice it because I'm trying to train myself not to say these things, and I hear him saying it 50 times in a video, and I just want to go, dude, come on, man, you gotta like with me, you gotta work with me, and we'll set up some kind of training program to get us to stop saying this crap, because it just stands out so much because, like I said, I'm trying not to say these things. 5.6K. See, the only problem with using the multimeter method is you got to remember that these things are super inaccurate. So you never, you know, there's a limit to how accurate this thing can be, because this thing could be 10% off. I think these are all 10% resistors. And I don't even see 100K, 100 ohm. 100K. Oh well, I'll do that. I'll do that one later. We'll get to that one later, because right now all I see are 100Ks and stuff. So this one is 100K. Alright, I'll do these first. Yeah, so I'm trying to stop myself from saying a few things, and I've completely forgotten what the point I was trying to make was before realizing that I was saying actually 50 times. So, you know, I want to shoot all of these videos, but editing is the real slowdown for me. And because I work a shitty schedule now, and I'll probably be on it for a long time, getting around to actually editing, it's like I'm limited to like, you know, if I really spent my time off, like I could do it a couple times a week, because I have a split weekend now, which is ridiculous. Ugh. Don't get me started on split weekends. I don't have the time to just like be home and just relax, and I want like a day to unwind before I start shooting, just because, you know, I've been working all week, and, you know, I want to just relax. But then I get home, and the next day I gotta go back to work because it's a split weekend. So it's kind of crappy. Oh, I found the 5.6K. Let's see if this was the 5.6K. I can't remember if where I put it down. Nope, that's a 47K. Try to remember that. And yeah, so I mean, I can usually edit 100 ohm. Okay, I know where this one is. I can usually get a video edited in just a couple hours, if that. Just because, like I said, I shoot them in a linear way, and I don't have any fancy stuff. I use Mike's electric stuff as a template for my editing style, which is just cut them all, and who cares? Like, you know, I don't do any stupid transitions or that stuff. I just splice everything together. And you would be surprised. Like, sometimes it's really obvious, but I cut out stuff like the ums and ahs and stuff like that. And, man, it looks like I just read that sentence normally. Like, it's just by chance sometimes when I do the cuts, I just go, wow, that sounds like it doesn't even look like there's an edit in the video. And it's just by chance, you know. It's not like my editing skills or anything like that. I'm just an idiot with Final Cut Pro. But, you know, I try and get them edited once a week. And that's why I've been able to put up videos lately. Once in a while I go through and I get a whole bunch of them edited. And like I still have a whole bunch of VHSs to edit, or not edit, to record. And they're kind of annoying to do. The Apple VHSs, I should be more specific. They're kind of annoying to do just because it ties up my computer, and it also, the software I use, it always plays through the audio. So like while I'm recording it, I'm stuck listening to it instead of actually getting to use my computer and listen to music. Like even this is driving me crazy. Soldering without music, insane. Oh my god. I'm so used to just, as soon as I turn on the soldering iron, the music starts. So in case you're wondering, I listen to pretty much everything, with the exception of like shitty modern pop music. And well, I mean the closest thing I'll get to modern pop music is probably Lily Allen. But for the most part, I listen to pretty much everything else. Got a whole bunch of concerts coming up. Gotta go see Rush, the greatest band ever. Okay, not really, but I do have to see them. You know, Canadian. I gotta see them once, man. And they're playing in New York in like June or July or something. So looking forward to that. Always got to see my 90s bands whenever possible, like Garbage and Veruca Salt. They're coming up. Actually, Garbage isn't. Veruca Salt is. Unfortunately, Garbage isn't coming back here yet. Be sure to get tickets when they do, though. My favorite band. Okay, getting almost done on these resistors. Let me just see if we're still recording. Okay, good. I see a light. It's probably a good indicator it's recording. And yeah, these are okay. And I was kind of impressed with this this kit. It's got like an actual programming header on it, and you know, like it's actually pretty impressive. It's got a whole bunch of switches on it. Now the thing with the switches is they're not keyed in any way. And I know these things toggle between the outer, the left and the right. Like the center is the common pin, and it will toggle between the outside and the left and the right. And like, which way does it go on? You know, I'm gonna have half of these that are on when they're out and on when they're pushed in, and it's gonna drive me crazy. It's gonna take me a week to just switch them all around, but we'll deal with that when we get there. If I get this thing closed up. And the funny thing is, these things never have instructions. Once in a while, one or two of these actually came with like a printed instruction guide, which was crazy. Because usually the silk screen is all you need. You know, you're just putting pieces where they're supposed to go. But sometimes it's a little ambiguous of what you're supposed to do with certain things. For example, this kit, there's a panel meter thing for the voltage, and it doesn't even it just shows the wires running under the board. It doesn't even say what it connects to. I don't even think this is right. I think I have to change this. But it's like, where do you connect the voltage, all the pins for this thing? Because I didn't even know the pin out on these stupid things. I had to like figure it out. So yeah, I mean, like, that's just kind of annoying shit that they do. But, oh, and I have one that I do want to get built. I think it's up there somewhere. It's about this big actually, and it's a complete surface mount kit that has, it's a VU meter for audio. Now I already have like my cool graphic equalizer, but this seemed like a kind of a cool kit to have. So I got it, and they're all SMD. It's not like there's like 45 LEDs on it. It doesn't even show the polarity of where one LED will go, let alone any of the other parts. I think there's a pin 1 marker for some of the stuff, but man, so none of it has anything on it. So it's like, where the hell do I even begin? So I ended up having to save screenshots of the auction because I'm like, okay, well this shows it built, so I should be able to like reverse engineer it based on the stupid pictures, but it's not exactly the way you want to be building a kit. Trying to. I actually had to Google. I remember now. I had to Google pictures of it because the kit auction didn't even show what it looked like. It just showed the bag of the parts. So it showed the thing completed, but it only showed one side of it. It didn't show all the other control circuitry. It just had the LED panel and the mini plugs for the headphone jacks. It didn't have the actual picture of the stupid ICs and stuff that they've got on the back, which are hello, it's a home kit and it's surface mount, and they didn't pre-attach one side of it, which is absurd. So I can't heat gun the thing, because if you heat gun it, the other side's gonna fall off. I don't have like a wave soldering machine and the little glue dots or anything like that. I've got to most likely heat solder or like heat gun solder the side with the LEDs, just because that's going to be a pain, and then go back to the other side and hand solder all of the ICs and stuff, which will be kind of a pain because I'm bad enough at through-hole soldering, let alone the SMD stuff, especially when it comes to more complicated things. I have I think it's Silicon Image. I can't remember who. No, it's not Silicon Image. I can't remember who makes it, but I've got some chips which are USB to serial interface controllers, like the FTDI ones. But screw you, FTDI, with your goddamn bricking. And the wife. So I wanted to give them a shot, and they're these freaking 0.5 millimeter pitch QFN packages. And I do have the little adapter boards that switch them into like a dip socket. But man, I tried putting solder paste on and doing that myself, and it was not great. And they're like $3 a chip too, so it's it's an somewhat expensive screw up when you're killing a chip like that. Now where are all my diodes? This thing actually has 4 diodes here, so it must accept AC power. That's bizarre. These kits are almost always just hook up 12 volts. Yeah, all in one in for 007 diodes, and they're all right next to the power jack. Bizarre. Only kit I've ever seen that is AC or DC powered. And there's a few other things on this board, like the LM7805, and we've got some like filtering caps. There's a big inductor. I have no idea how LCR meters work. I should probably look into that. I mean, I know how a resistance meter works and stuff, but how they measure inductance and capacitance, I have no idea. Multimeters do the same thing. It's obviously not that complicated. Like most things, it's usually just converted into a voltage. So that's probably what it's doing. It's just, using some fancy analog. circuitry to convert it into a voltage that the microcontroller can read, but I'll be damned if I know how that happens. I assume it's some kind of witchcraft. And the MCU is a big Atmel one. It's one of these gigantic, I think it's an 8-bit one, and God, it's so hard to solder on this angle. There we go. It's definitely not Arduino based like some of them are. I have gotten kits that do use you know, like a 328p, and they do actually when you actually fire it up and check it, it does actually have like the Arduino bootloader on it, so they are using it. But this one is some, which one is it? It is an Atmel AT89S5224PU. Wow. Wow, it was actually made, wow, made 2015, 06. Impressive. Kind of expect these kits to be made out of parts that they find on a shelf in Shenzhen from 30 years ago, but it's amazing how many. I've noticed that before. I have gotten other kits that have like brand new date codes on stuff. Now, you know, whether or not you know, you can believe those, but the date codes themselves do say brand new, so someone out there is at least making the effort to fake it if they're not making outright new stuff. You know, rewriting all the stupid date codes. Like for all I know, what they do is they make a million of these microcontrollers and leave them blank until they're ready to ship them, and then just print out whatever newest date code they've got. But let's do this guy next. I think that's all the little itty bitty things. Now there's a connector on the end here. I have no idea what this thing is for. There's a 2-pin connector here. It just says plus minus. Is that? Let's trace it out. I'm not sure if that's. Okay, that connects to the ground. The other one connects to. Oh, it's just like a battery connector. Oh yeah, see, there's a little angled 2-pin socket. Oh, another plane. Did I mention I live next to LaGuardia? It's actually not that loud usually. They seem to have a lot of helicopters. I think the president's in town, so always loud. So let's see if we can get these sockets. There's also an LM393. I can't remember, is that an op amp or a comparator? I think it's an op amp. So that's the socket here. And we got the big socket for the microcontroller, which I hope the pins are okay. Let me double check this because I know one of them was bent pretty badly. Oh no, okay, it's fine. It came on a chunk of random styrofoam. Of course. Only the best. And let's just put this like that. I just want to get a corner tacked on each one so it doesn't go anywhere in the vise. Obviously I can't wear my giant ridiculous paint respirator while soldering today since I'm talking. I mean, as much as I want to sound like Bane for the whole thing, I think I'll suffer through a bit of flux smoke for the day. Alright, you know, looks good. I like my little pan of ice. I mean, it's cheap as hell and it's a little wobbly, but already cat fur on it. Thanks, guys. And it's a little wobbly, but it does hold the stuff I work on quite well. One of the things I was thinking of changing on the channel is switching the ads to the skippable video ones as well as the overlay. Let it choose, because right now I have it only showing the overlay ads, and you know, I'm not here to make like money, like, you know, I want to make all my money, but it's, you know, I want to make a little bit so I can fund the channel. Basically, it's not for profit. I just want to you know, help offset the costs of some of this stuff, because all the things that are on the channel I have bought off eBay, or, well, some of them I find at work and stuff, but for the most part, almost everything on the channel is stuff I've purchased on eBay. So it does kind of add up. It's what I use my spare cash on when it's not for concert tickets, pretty much. And although some of the things I do resell, like I resold the motherboard I bought. Some guy had a motherboard on eBay that was, I don't think I showed it on the channel. Some guy had a motherboard on eBay that was, it just said like computer board. And I'm like, well, that's intriguing, because whenever someone has stuff like that, I always like really look at it, because, you know, the guy could be selling like, you know, a modern, it could be like an i7 for all he knows, because some of these people, they just have no clue. You know, they've got they found it in the trash or something like that. They just find this random thing, or they're giving it you know, from a friend or at a yard sale or some shit, and they have no clue. Like, I see people who put up laptop computer all the time on eBay, and usually it's just like a Core 2, but once in a while I do see like an actual, you know, like an i3 or an i5 laptop, and the guy's got it up for like $30. The thing is, I just don't need one of those, you know. But some of the things like that, like this motherboard I'm mentioning, I do actually just buy them. And I just go, what the hell? I'll see what it is. You know, what's the worst that can happen? So I bought this motherboard. It was an MSI motherboard. And this guy's like, I don't know. The description was literally just, I don't know what this does or if it works. And it was just a blurry picture of a board. I looked up the board, and it's an AMD motherboard. Not bad, you know, like it's a decent board with a few slots on it. And I just looked at the supported CPUs, and there were a whole bunch of them. Like, it's AMD, unlike Intel, doesn't really change their sockets nearly as, they don't change them nearly as much as Intel. Intel changes their sockets every CPU, almost. And yeah, that can be, you know, for better or for worse, that's their system, and they've been doing it for like 100 years now. So you know, you kind of get used to it when you're an Intel user. I'm an Intel user, and I have been for a long time, since I switched to Intel, which was from PowerPC, actually. From PowerPC to Intel, because they when Apple switched. So I used to have an AMD a long time ago, an Athlon, but, well, my mom did, and you know, they were okay at the time, but now it's all just false savings. Holy crap, AMD, what's wrong with you guys? You sell a chip that's cheap, but you use like 150 watts of power to run the damn thing, and it's half the speed of an i7. Like, I don't even, don't get me started on AMD, man. Because it's just such a false savings. Like, especially here in New York, where you pay double the national average in power. Good luck, man. Keep your AMDs, because it'll cost me $100 a year just to run the damn thing. I'd rather save the money and just buy or spend the money up front and buy an Intel, and then You know, just deal with the initial cost of it, and that's it. Whereas the AMD, you're paying forever, especially with their GPUs. Because if you're a gamer, you're paying for the GPU all the time, because that thing is going to be using so much power all the time. They have like 290 watt CPUs and 300 watt GPUs. Like, jeez, my whole computer pulls less than that. You know. Let me see if I can get this resistor pack soldered. Okay, I managed to put it in on an angle, so it should be out of the way. So anyway, I bought this AMD board, not knowing what CPU it would have in it, and it had what is essentially their Athlon, or sorry, their Atom equivalent. Or no, it's a little bit better than that. It was like a Turon or something, whatever they are. It's not this board. This is the board from the that rack mount thing I took apart recently, but it was a different board. This MSI board, and I paid. The guy had two of them up. The guy sold the first one for like $20, and I bid on it too, but I just didn't bid too high because I was like, yeah, I don't. Do I want to risk it? You know, but. I did end up bidding a little higher on the other one, and I got it for like $20. And then it turned out that I was able to resell the board for like $45. So, not bad. Won't complain about that. But the thing is, I do resell some of this stuff. Like this. Well, this board will sell. You know, 8 gigs of RAM already installed. I'm kind of annoyed. I was going to steal the memory and put it in my router. But it's actually DDR2. Ugh, AMDs, man. Come on, get with the times. But yeah, my Atom-based router uses DDR3. So I couldn't just swap I would have just downgraded that to 4. And everyone would be happy on eBay, but unfortunately I can't. Oh, there's a clock crystal here. I'll put this into. So I'm done all the resistors, done all the diodes. Just got the clock crystals and these ceramic caps. And how fast is it? Oh, it's 12 megahertz clock crystal. Man, fancy. Just got those, and then I move on to the bigger stuff. And figure out these switches. I'll leave the switches for last and just power it on and see what the how the settings work as I press the switches, because they should make enough contact so that I can figure it out. One clock crystal, and okay, so we got these. What are these? 102. Oh wait, are these the same? Wouldn't be surprised if they use 2 identical. Okay, no, so these are 22. Those must be the load capacitors for the clock oscillator. Okay, oh, and of course they didn't make these the right size. These little caps can't fit in the sized holes they made. There's always one thing on these boards that just doesn't. Oh wait, this is okay. I gotta make sure I'm paying attention because these are different values. 102, 102. Oh, maybe I think it's just the cap is a little wider than it should be. And those are the load capacitors. Where's this guy? There's no 105. And why are you hiding on me? What the hell is this 3-pin resistor device? It's not. Because It looks like there's a pot up here, but then there's a 3-pin something here? I don't know. Well, here's my 502, but it's oh no, sorry, I have a 105. So where the hell is this thing going? Man, why are you hiding on me? Oh, I'll leave this for now till I spot. Oh no, here it is. It's right. Of course, it's right next to everything else. Okay. Like I was saying about that Athlon board, or the AMD board, most of the stuff I take apart, I can't get my money back on. You know, it's just a lot of the stuff, especially when if it's a custom board, forget it. Like, it's just, you write it off, it's done. You know, I got my video out of it, and I pretty much just trash it after, because, you know, like stuff like that huge interscan thing that I took apart a while ago. Yeah, okay, it's this super awesome board, and like, you know, it does all this really awesome packet inspection, and it's just super state of the art. And it's like, well, one, I don't need that at home. I have a pfSense router. It scans for viruses as it goes, not that I really need to. And what am I going to do? Run this thing in the background for like 150 watts? It's just like, it's useless. And the thing is, no one wants to buy a big networking device from me on eBay because I can't ship it for free. The companies that are they're reselling surplus electronics and stuff, they're the ones who can get deals with UPS and whatnot and just sell it all for free. Okay, so here's the diode. Can't remember now. Longer one is positive. I always forget. I'll deal with that later. Always forget that. Oh no, longer one is positive. Let me just put this the LED in. And don't want to start putting on these big guys yet. So all these guys can sell their stuff for like $5 because their freaking shipping cost is $0. Me, I've got to charge the guy for shipping because like, I'm not going to lose money on shipping the thing to you. So it's just like I can't resell these things, even though some of the stuff would resell. Like, you know, someone would probably have bought that like McAfee interscan thing. I know I'll just never be able to sell it at a price where someone will bid on it. If they could get it for $20 like I did, someone would buy it. But if it's $20 plus 45 shipping because the thing weighs 50 pounds, not gonna happen. It's never gonna sell on eBay. So unfortunately, a lot of the things I can't make any money back on, and it's just a loss. So I got my video, and it's not like I'm Dave Jones or someone who makes, you know, $1,000 a video. Well, not $1,000, but you know what I mean. They're making enough money off a new video that they can justify. Oh, I can't realize this cap like fell all the way out. They can justify spending a bit of money on a video because they know they make it back. That's their income source. They're making money off that video, and they get paid to do it. Basically, I don't. I make like a couple bucks, if that, and you know, it's just like I'll put the ads on and see if the revenue changes. Like, I don't know how much of a difference it is to have the video ads as opposed to the stupid text overlays. I find the text overlays to be a little bit less annoying personally when I'm on YouTube and I don't have it blocked, the ads blocked. But either way, they're annoying. So it's like whatever. I'll just put the stupid video ads on and see what it does. Are these all 10? 10 mic. 10 mic. So that's the only real change I'm going to make on the channel. I do intend to eventually shoot a freaking trailer. Mostly just because YouTube keeps going, hey, make a trailer, man. You need to make a trailer. Why don't you have a trailer yet? And I don't know what I'm supposed to do for a trailer. What kind of highlights do you think are going to be interesting in a trailer? Is there one more of these? Okay, good. I'm like, wait a minute. I see another 10 mic, and I'm not seeing the cap. So I'll probably get a trailer finished at some point. That'll probably take longer than a regular video. Just grabbing all those clips and stuff together. I mean, it's easy in Final Cut. Final Cut has a library system where, you know, I have access to the clips from all the other videos really, really easily. And it keeps track of it. For better or for worse. I mean, you know, there's obviously bad things that go along with having a library-based system as opposed to just file level, where it stores a folder and it's got your videos in it. Lightroom is a weird mix of the two. It's got folders of the video of the files, but it's freaking got a library. So I was trying to set it up, and it has an aperture import thing, and it sucks. I mean, the import thing is just useless. But I was trying to organize it in Lightroom so I could, you know, potentially switch to Windows. Let me see if we're still recording. We are. And the damn thing started moving files. Like, I told it to move pictures into a folder to organize them because it didn't import the organization properly. And it somehow like never finished or got lost track, or who the hell knows. So halfway, like the next day, I loaded it up and it said, you know, half of them weren't synced up properly. Let me just grab my cap on tape and knock some other crap down, because I did notice that the voltage regulator, wherever it is, there's a via under it. So if I put it there and it's touching it, it's going to short up to the via. Actually, maybe I can just get a little bit of electrical tape. I think that'll work better. Just a little blob of electrical tape, you know, something you want under something that's going to be making heat. Some insulating tape. Seems to make sense to me. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, they didn't. They should have left this part bare, or just you know, bare metal, just so it can transfer heat away. But they didn't. Instead, they did this stupid thing where they've now made it impossible for me to get good thermal contact, and two, it can potentially short. These are always a pain to bend because you have to bend them at the base as well to get everything lined up. And even then it doesn't line up. Although I do have spares if I do manage to break the pins on this one. And that's close enough. Good enough for me. There we go. Sorry for the long, boring pauses, but I figured this would be more of a ranting kind of rambling video. So, got that done. What are we missing? Oh, I got a couple little transistors here. Are they both the same? That is the question. I still don't know what part's going to go here. Like what 3-pin, unless it's this resistor, which is up here. Oh, I still have the 2 little load caps to put on. Unless it's this, like what 3-pin part is this? There's this spot here that's got a rectangular silk screen, and it's 3-pin, and it says 502. So that must be this potentiometer. Nope, that's a 10K potentiometer. Oh, okay, here we go. There's a 10-turn pot. All right, that makes sense. Mystery solved. Okay, so yeah, that's the 50. Yep. Yep. Okay. Now where were these stupid transistors? There we go. Q1. Oh, they're different. Gotta pay attention now. 1.4. This should be 1.5. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you know, the channel is actually growing steadily. I mean, I know subscribers. The number of subscribers you have is not a huge factor in how much you make on the channel and how many views. Just because most popular videos are popular because it's being suggested by YouTube's brain instead of the you know, your subscribers going, oh, look, a new video, I gotta watch this. It's actually not that many who do that, surprisingly. I mean, I do have a few people who watch it every time, but I don't think it counts when it's my dad. my wife is technically a subscriber. She does not watch the videos though. She just puts up with the soldering fumes. So yeah, the thing is, I've heard on most channels that it takes 2 years before you make any money on it. Well, not really money, just before you even become known at all. And well, one thing I want to do is I want to keep somewhat consistent, not with my release schedule, that's for sure, but I want to keep my channel going, you know, even though this is just a hobby. I do like doing it, and I do hate it when channels just disappear. I'm looking at you, Connor. Jeez, where did you go? You had some great teardowns. LED bulbs, some electronic stuff, and you just disappear? It sucks. And you got other guys, what's his name? Jerry Sweeney, I can't remember now. But he makes some great videos over in England. And yeah, he just stopped making videos all of a sudden too. I don't know why. And Mike, I love your videos, but man, you're so freaking inconsistent. I get it. You're not making money off it, and it's not your job, and you just make videos whenever you want because it's a hobby. It's something to just do while you're working on another project. But come on, Mike, we love your videos. You gotta, like, release more. My only problem with Mike is that he mentions stuff in a lot of his videos, like I do. I do this too. You know, where I'll say, oh, you know, this is gonna make I can make something out of this. This is gonna be a really interesting project, and then the project never comes. He never finishes it. There are a couple exceptions, but for the most part, he'll just go, oh yeah, you know, this video or this laser or whatever is amazing, and I'm gonna do something with it. And you never hear about it. And I get that he's busy, and I get that you know, he's got his real job to do. But it's just funny because it's like, oh, that's really interesting. I love that he's working with this laser. He's working with this, you know, this chemical nonsense, and it's just like, nah, I'll never hear about that again. It'll be, I'm gonna another random video about IR cameras. Not that IR cameras are bad. It's always interesting, but you know, sometimes lasers are cool. So we've got this pot that must go here. Oh, this is the contrast dial for the LCD. Duh. And I do still need to put those load caps on. This one's gonna be a pain in the ass. Let's see if this, I can get this to hold. You know, I see people use all sorts of different methods for soldering stuff to breadboards, because, you know, obviously when you turn it upside down to get a good view of the piece you're working on, and to solder it, it falls out of what you're putting in. Little stuff like resistors are easy because they will, you can bend the leads in a way that they don't fall out. But these ones with the little stubby leads always fall out, and it's always a pain. But they, I've seen people do tape. What's his name? Julian does it. He puts tape, and I think that's just crazy. I spend all day putting tape on it. I don't want tape on my damn board. It's gonna get all sticky, and it's just like seems like a lot of needless work. I mean, sometimes I will get a part that just does not want to cooperate, and I do think that I should have just used the damn tape. I would have saved so much time. But for the most part, it's never a problem. And I just think, like, you know, just bend the leads on the reason. Like, see these caps? They're not going anywhere. And what I do is I just try and get one thing tacked in. I get one thing tacked in, and then I reflow that tack while pushing on it, and then let it set up, and it's perfect. I mean, well, I won't call this perfect, but you know what I mean. Speaking of not perfect, this one with this stupid weird ass leads is bothering me. Let's see if I can get, yeah, it looks a little better. I'm kind of weird about my component placement. I want it to look pretty, or at least somewhat nice. Speaking of that MSI board, that MSI board had caps on it, electrolytic caps that were like on an angle, like they it just looks so bad. I'm like, dude, who is soldering? Like it was machine soldered, and it's like, who is anyone checking this board? Because it's awful. It was just it looks like it was like worse than what I would do, and that's really saying something. And they were just like way out on an angle. They clearly did not inspect the board at all, and all the electrolytics were like that. And I replaced some of the caps on it, and it oh wait, duh, I do still have to keep soldering. I replaced some of the caps on it, and they stood out, not because they were like badly done because they're mine, but it was because they were like right side up. Man, MSI, get your board teams working properly, because that was just embarrassing. Might as well put on the DC input jack since I'm right here on the board. These ones are always a pain to solder. Actually, I just noticed that these things do have a little loop through them. So you could actually just run a wire through it to hold it while you're doing it, but I'm not gonna bother fiddling with that. I just kind of hold it and just bend the solder in a way that I can just get a little bit somewhere. There we go. Enough to hold it in place, and then I'll just reflow it so it's somewhat flat. That looks close enough. And then solder one of the other tabs with 50 feet worth of solder. I've never actually, in terms of PC boards, I've never actually used MSI. Now that I think about it, I've always, I don't remember what my very first boards were back in the Athlon days, but My system here uses Gigabyte, so does my wife's and my home theater PC system. Just because I was running Hackintoshes, and Gigabyte is the closest thing to a Mac, really, because they, for the most part, all their stuff just works. Like their boards are basically like identical to an Apple board, with some exceptions, of course. Alright, we're getting down to just the switches, the big inductor. Let's get this little header for the LCD on. And what else do I need? Oh, I gotta put my little programming header on, and then we'll do the big caps, I think. Yeah. So let me start on this LCD. I like it when they put it in a socket, because, well, one, it's a pain in the ass to take off these LCDs when they're looks reasonably straight once they're soldered in, and two, I actually sometimes trade them out. This one is a blue one, so I don't mind. I can tell already it's one of the blue text ones. I like the blue text ones. I've got some really cool orange text ones, like black background with orange text. And they're pretty cool. I put those on things that I make. And I'll sometimes replace the stock ones. If they come with one of those like shitty green ones, I don't really like the green ones. So I'll swap them out. And sometimes it's funny because some of these kits, they don't put a contrast pot on it, which is just ridiculous. Like, who designs it? I mean, I get that you can PWM it. You usually want a filter on it though to prevent flicker, but just like a little RC filter. But it's annoying as hell when you want to just swap out the cat is snoring. One of the cats. I just realized that you want to swap out the LCD, but you can't adjust the freaking contrast on the new one. It just looks bizarre. So I'm stuck with the stupid red, black on green, sorry. Yeah, that's good enough. And do the USB header, since again we're in the area. Or, sorry, the programming header. It's the ASP, I keep calling it USB. I guess that's Atmel Serial Programmer. Never really given that much thought. That must be their programming interface for the Arduino series ones, the AVR, non-AVR series. I don't really have much experience in non-Arduino based microcontrollers. I do have to give them credit. I mean, it's not like AVR microcontrollers are any better than a PIC or whatever. Obviously people will argue about that, but for me at least, someone who had a basic knowledge of like how programming worked, like I've done PHP and I've done some very, very basic C programming in my time. Just making sure we're still recording. I gotta give them credit, because I picked up the Arduino real fast, and I found it very easy, and I really enjoyed learning with it. I mean, that's what kind of got me back into electronics, because I always knew computers, but actual like soldering electronics, I just never really got into it. I mean, I had a soldering iron when I was a kid, but I think I just burned Lego men with it. I never really learned, my analog circuits and stuff like that, and I do regret that. I don't have many regrets in life, but that's one of them. Are these all 470 mic? Yeah. Okay. Any of these? Oh, lovely Chang'X brand electrolytics. Or sorry, Chang'X. Only the best. It's getting warm already. God, I hate summer. I'm the only Canadian who actually likes winter. It's funny, I'm from Toronto, and Toronto has this more or less the same weather as New York. In fact, New York tends to get a lot more snow and rain than Toronto did. And I swear, all this time growing up, I lived in Toronto for 27 years. Every single person complains about the weather. And it's just like, move, you know? You're in not the warmest place in Canada, but you're in one of the warmer ones that has a winter. I mean, you can move out to Vancouver, hang out with AVE, but well, he's not. He's in British Columbia. I don't know if he's in Vancouver or not, but you know, you can move out there and you get Seattle weather. Basically, you get a few days of rain, and you get maybe a day of snow a year. And these people, they're always complaining about the weather, like, oh my God, it's so cold. When will summer come? Move. Why do you live here then? I mean, I like the winter. I mean, think about it. When it's too hot, what do? You turn on an air conditioner. You use power. You turn on a fan. Like in the summer, I have a fan on 24/7 basically. And, you know, like you can't just cool down easily. You have to consume stuff to cool down. But people make their own heat. You can just wrap up in a blanket to get warm. And it just seems so wasteful, all these people who just complain about how cold the winter is and that they're going to go home. Like, I know, how cold the winter is, and meanwhile in the summer they're running their AC 24/7, and it's just like, ugh, so wasteful. Oh, what's that? Oh God, it's only not even 3 o'clock yet. I suppose that's a good thing. It is my day off, but unfortunately, due to my schedule, I go 3 days without seeing my wife, which I understand a lot of people. I tell people that, and they go, dude, that's the greatest schedule in the world. But no, I do actually still want to see her, so I find that on Fridays, especially when I'm off, even though it's like, yeah, I'm off, I get to relax, all I want to do is I'm just waiting for 6 o'clock for her to get home, which is kind of funny because I feel more pressed for time on my days off than I do when she... Now see, these things are CX, LX, and FX. And this one is, I have no idea because it's probably covered up by the solder. Let me just straighten this header out. Well, yeah, how the hell this works, beyond me. So C, what the hell is the FX? I get the L and the C, but what's the F for? That must be the resistance mode. And there's a switch for each one. And then you've got small c and big C, so capacitors. And then you've got, I mean this, oh yeah, C+. Okay, so this must be like the large capacitor. And these are for like the low capacitors, because there's big C, small c, and power. Ugh. Ridiculous. Just completely crazy. Let me see if I can... Nah, it's not going to work. Hoping I could cheat it and rest this thing in a way that I can just pop in all these screw terminals. And of course there's screw terminals instead of proper hookups. Like I'll probably replace, if this thing works, I don't need like a good LCR meter, but this, yeah, keep in mind this thing was like $450. So if this thing will at least give me, I really just need an inductance meter, really. I mean, that's pretty much the only thing I'm ever confused about, because my my multimeters do everything else. Let's see if I can join these together and if they fit when they're joined. do? I want to bother. I'll take this one off. Hang on. Get my shitty desoldering pump. Because these screw terminals have little clips to join together. And it turns out that this was actually, they designed this properly. Who knew? And they can go in together. Alright, so let me see, they join up. Ow, that's hot. There we go. So that's a proper terminal block. And I think that is the first, I mean, they didn't put the fourth one next to it, which is ridiculous. They could have just lined them all up, but this will have to do. I think I have to desolder this a little bit. Yeah, that should work. Should, not will. Starting to think that this is off by just a tad. Yep, it is actually. I can see that it's actually trying to pull these apart. So they didn't actually design this in a way that you can join them all together, because it's trying to rip them apart. But screw it, that's how they're going in. It's happening whether you want it or not. They probably actually intentionally left enough clearance for the little tabs that join them together, instead of just thinking, well, we'll join them all together and make it easier. One thing I never gave much thought to this, but it's like, man, I had solder when I was a kid, like the thick, like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter stuff from like Radio Shack. And I remember going through it pretty quick, because I didn't even have a spool of it. It was just like a little tube of folded up solder. And I can't believe how long this solder lasts. I mean, I feel like I've made so many things, and I've been using the solder like crazy, and I've barely even dented the spool. Ugh. I actually have like another spool of solder. It's like some kind of crazy high temperature solder, and you know, I don't need it for day-to-day use, but like I always thought I'd be like using different solder and switching them around, and no, it's all just this one spool. This is like Kester? This is Kester stuff. Yeah, and this is the organic flux. It's weird. It's very waxy, and it'll start burning through like etching the board almost immediately. So I think it's good solder, but you gotta like wash it off right away. I mean, you should be washing off the flux anyway, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes I've forgotten, and you start to see it pretty quickly that you haven't removed it. So I'm gonna put the chips in. Get these ICs installed so that I can power it up and see what happens. Maybe it'll just catch fire. Oh shit, that's the wrong way. Whoops. Where is a little screwdriver? I didn't realize that this didn't have the, for some reason I looked at they usually have a half moon little marker, but I just realized that this one actually has a dot. And I looked for the side without the half moon and put it in, and I didn't realize that was actually the wrong way. Whoops. And this bigger guy. bending the leads a bit. Yeah, I should put in the leads a bit more. These big chips are a pain. Plus they don't bend as far because I'm bending it on my rubber, the anti-static mat. Looks good. Alright, I gotta put the little header on this guy. Now, why? They must expect this to be on the back. Because how the hell does this work? This is so high. Hang on. Let me check. I bet in the pictures, some of the stuff is on the top, some of it's on the bottom. Let me just bring up my eBay thing. Alright, I found some images, and the best I can tell, it is right. The caps are supposed to be on this side, and this LCD is just somehow really high off them. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using the standard pin header, I'm just going to use one of these Arduino ones, which are longer by a little bit. So I'm going to put this in, 2 extra pins, and a breadboard around here. I think I do. Where are my breadboards? There's one. Yeah. The trick with these is to solder inside a breadboard. That way you get the pins somewhat straight. It's never perfect, but they're a bit better that way. The only problem with these Arduino ones, at least the ones I have, maybe these are just really old and they're like freaking oxidized beyond belief, but I find these ones to be a pain in the ass to solder. They just don't wet at all. Put it in the breadboard, keeps everything somewhat level while you solder it. Just get it out of the way for now. This was testing out different LCDs. I'm trying to move away from these 16:2 character ones and stuff I make. Not so much that they are, I'm not doing like fancy graphics or anything like that, but I do, I like making battery powered stuff, and these things are 5 volt, and I figure why make a 5 volt thing when these like little OLED displays and stuff are lower voltage. The Nokia displays, the 5110 Nokia displays, you find them everywhere on eBay. They are, oh, I bridged one, gotta remember that. They are 3.3 volt, and I've got all these little DC to DC converters, and they work really well at boosting like a AAA up to 3.3 volt. They do have 5 volt ones, but why bother? I mean, you can run. The cool thing is Arduino. There is a bootloader that configures the 328p or whatever one you're using to run at 8 megahertz instead of 16. So it uses less power, and it saves the clock oscillator. You don't need an oscillator because it has an internal one. And I'll put my desoldering wick away. Oops. Wife's talking. There we go. I'll chop off all these super long heats. Oh, and another thing I noticed about these is they're so tough, the pins, that when you cut them, they bounce up into your finger and actually hurt. when you're cutting them with your side cutters. Ow. You're getting jabbed with little needles. Alright. And I got rid of none of them. Amazing. Oh, and another thing about this solder is it does have a kind of a strange smell. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's not, it doesn't smell like the solder you know. It's just a little unusual. Okay, well that actually fits. I mean, yeah, it's touching capacitors and stuff, but okay, whatever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go rinse this thing off since it's already starting to get like weird and waxy crap on it. And I'll give it a shot with the battery, or the switches. I'll just push them in manually just to see what happens. Alright, I gave the back of this a little bit of a wipe. It didn't really do anything because I used alcohol wipes. I was going to go rinse it off, but yeah, I'll do that when I'm all done because I haven't soldered in any of the switches. I did solder in one switch, which I believe is the right way. I'm going to put on a little beautiful red cap on it. And because I gave it 9 volts and just kind of fiddled with it to see if it would power on. Okay. So, you know, this is water soluble solder flux. So, you know, you just run it under like soapy water and it really gets rid of it quite effectively. And nothing yet. Let me. That screwdriver does not fit. Oh. It's just not showing anything. It must need some switches. Well, I guess we're soldering in some switches. Unless it's just not making good contact. Let me try that again. So I don't know if it's just not. Yeah. Alright. So it's just not getting any anything from the microcontroller. So probably either I made a mistake, which is always my first guess, or it just needs these switches installed. So what I'll do is let's just put in all these switches and I'll swap them around as needed. And they do have a little indicator mark, and I'm going to copy the one I just used for the power switch. So we'll see if that's right. God, these are a weird angle. Put them in my little vise. Of course, once you're getting towards the end of a project like this, you start running out of space to clamp, which is annoying. So let's some solder on one of these pins. Yep. And this way. So yeah, I mean, like, I've got so much stuff left to make videos of, so I hope I don't burn out or something and stop making these. I don't think I will. I want to keep making them. And like, for one, I've got a really cool, hang on, this is going to be another one of those things I mentioned and then doesn't show up in a video for like 6 months. Ugh. I got a 9-drive hard drive wiper, and it's pretty cool. It's got a big graphical LCD, and the board is really neat because these are all individually switched. It switches on all the 12 volt and 5 volt rails individually to each drive with MOSFETs, and it's got like a CF card interface, and it uses a ATX power supply. It's actually pretty damn cool because I go through so many hard drives on eBay. That is one, like I've said before, that is one place I get my money back usually. And I also got this other little thing. This thing is scary as hell. You plug this thing in and look at this notice. Attaching this device will erase all information from the drive. You just plug it in and just go on, and it just immediately starts overwriting the data with zeros. And that's a pretty cool thing too. Like I'll probably do a big video on why it's important to erase your hard drives properly when you sell your stuff. See, it's funny because whenever I sell anything like a phone or a hard drive on eBay, eBay has now gotten wise to it, and they say, a little pop-up comes up and says, hey, you're selling this on eBay. They gave me the wrong size switch. I think they gave me a tiny switch. Why did they give me a tiny switch? These are, look, there. Let me see if I can get this on. Look, they're different pin pitches. Unbelievable. So hopefully that's not what I need. Anyway, eBay now warns you when you sell something like a hard drive or phone or computer or whatever. It says, hey, make sure you erase all your data from the drive before you sell it. Protect your personal information. No one does that. People will either, I buy, kind of as a little hobby, I buy hard drives from time to time. Yeah, these are both small. I wonder if they fit over here. Anyway, I buy hard drives from time to time on eBay. Nope. I do have some of these switches. Hang on. I buy hard drives from time to time on eBay to just look through and resell, because often there are lots of drives that I can just resell and get a little bit more money from, so I don't mind the time and effort it takes to buy and sell that drive. But when I do buy them, often they have data on them. It's just insane. Like, who? I will get drives that are completely untouched. They have all the person's data on it, like their Windows install or whatever they're running, and it's just crazy. I have found things on these computers, like nothing like weird or illegal, but I mean, are these the wrong set? Okay, they are working. I have found passport photos, like scanned passports, social security cards, everything, and it's crazy. These people just, you sell your drive for like $4 on eBay, and someone's got your freaking. I have found an Excel document with the guy's complete passwords for all of his accounts, like his Gmail, his bank account, his account numbers for his banks, like the login for his iTunes account. Like it's man, when will these people learn? It's just scary. But so I kind of want to do a video where I talk about that, and we'll do teardowns of these two drive wiping things, and just talk about that kind of like, it's really important. Like, you have to understand that when you erase a hard drive, when you say format, in most cases all it does is delete the directory information. It just gets rid of the map. It does not get rid of the data. It's really quite frightening how much like how easy it is for me to get that data back. As like just a general rule, when I get a drive, I run my unerase software. I use Data Rescue 3 from Mac OS, and I just run it every time, and it finds stuff all the time. And these people just don't understand. You gotta protect your information, like it's family photos and who knows what on your computer. I mean, backing up is rule number one with a computer, and wiping data is rule number one for selling a computer. Because people put this stuff, like I won a freaking tablet like a month ago, and the guy didn't even erase it. It was like his kid's tablet, and all like the kid, it's kids today. It's all just selfies, and there's like 800 million selfies of this kid on this thing, and I'm like, dude, you're freaking kid. What is? There's like a little wipe thing on Android, and it wipes the drive. Like, why wouldn't you? People annoy me, and just it's just like stupidity, man. See, they're lucky. They're lucky this stuff doesn't get them killed. I mean, it would certainly solve the problem, because all these people would get killed, and then it'd thin the herd a little bit with these stupid people doing this. But what can you do? I just keep buying all these drives off eBay and laugh. So it will make a good video one day, I think. So let's get this plugged in, hook that up, and see if there's any freaking picture. For all I know, this microcontroller is blank. It's not doing much. Is this supposed to be reversed? No. I don't get it. Your guess is as good as mine. Someone watch this in HD and tell me where I didn't solder something. Unless the only thing I don't have connected is this little 2-pin thing. Which I think is just hooked up to the power rails. It can't be anything fancy. I don't know, maybe the microcontroller is blank. Maybe they didn't program this one. Let me, I have a capacitor sitting right here. Let me see if I can track down a cap. Okay. It's a 220 mic cap. And shorten stuff out. Hopefully that didn't fry anything. But luckily it wasn't working in the first place. Let me see if we can get this hooked up. So that's positive. I hate screw terminals. And it's funny because it's like it's a capacitor tester, but caps have uneven legs. So like, how are you supposed to put these into a screw terminal? Well, bending it all weird. Okay. Big cap. Nope. I am calling bullshit on this kit. Do one more adjustment on the contrast, and then I'm calling it crap. Nope. I don't see any spots that I missed. I probably just made a mistake somewhere, but nah, I'm calling bullshit on this officially. Oh well, it was something to do while I rambled on for like an hour, so that's okay. Yeah, here's for another 100 subscribers in another year. Bye.